everyone, welcome to yet another session from Concurate. The learning continues and we are glad to have you with us. Today we are going to learn how do you sell to government agencies. How do we do that? Let's learn it through a story. Okay. Okay, before we start the story, what is B2G? B2G is business to government, or B2A, that is business to administration. And it is different from B2C and B2B. And before we dig any deeper, I'm sure you would agree that selling to government is challenging, won't it be? Look at the huge contracts these companies have taken. But it's difficult for me to even pronounce this number. I don't know if it's billions of dollars or what. Now, these numbers may make us feel that only the big companies can find their way to selling to government. Well, that's not true. Let's break the myth for you. Now, even if you are a small company, you can find an opportunity to sell to government. How do you do that? You go to their portal, which is for finding contracting opportunities. You search for your software, you define it in different terms, and see if there is a requirement that they have. And you would be amazed to know that there would be companies whose name you don't even know, but they are selling office supplies to government, right? So this is the place where you find the opportunity from. Now I'm going to tell you a story of a company, of a small business named SeamlessDocs. How did they manage to sell to government hugely? Okay, let's dig in. So SeamlessDocs, what did they used to do? And they were just a small software company. They were converting PDF to Word statements. Okay. Now, and they didn't even have any plan to sell to government unless somebody from government called them, that I work for the state of this, I'm in HR department, and I was wondering if I can use your electronic signatures on my forms. Okay. And this changed the future of the company. Suddenly, everything clicked. They realized that instead of selling to small businesses, if they can find a big industry or a government sector where a lot of such documentation is involved, so the use case becomes really frequent and there's a big number of people using it. For example, in government, you will see things like permits, registrations, applications, contracts, surveys. So there is so much of paperwork, all right? So the team decided to sell only to government. Now, as I told you why they wanted to sell to government, because they saw an opportunity, and government has, as per the statistics, the research says that 33% of government transactions are processed digitally and continue to raise year over year. So they see the opportunities. But um, there's a little difference in the people working in the government sector, public sector, or the private sector. The motivations are different. People in the government sector are more worried about the job security versus potential for growth. They are more into, systematic procedural process instead of freedom and autonomy. And it may seem to us that with bureaucratic nightmares and tight budgets and crazy contracts, how can we sell to the government? Okay, but today in the video, I'm going to show you 4 stages of closing the government. Stage 1, define your personas. Who is going to use it? Who takes the buying decision? Are there multiple parties participating in the buying process? So what SeamlessDocs did, they got the names, emails, addresses of personas working in their relative federal agencies. It was easy to get because all the information is public. And they divided the people in 3 categories. One was user, one was economic buyer, one was executive buyer. Economic buyer is the person who signs off the purchase orders, and executive buyer is the person who takes the strategic decisions from long-term perspective. While studying the personas, Seamless Doc also learned that the different departments in government are siloed and they might not be communicating very often. For example, IT department might not know what's going on in mayor's office, or mayor's office might not know what's going in the department of records. Now, for such siloed teams to bring everyone together on taking a decision, it was complicated, but they found out how these different teams communicate and how things work. So that was the first step of post-stage buying process. Second is government people, they don't like to receive emails. Already they are receiving tons and tons to reply to public, right? But the chances are higher that if you make a cold call, you will get a response. In fact, this company, SeamlessDocs, they got 90% of their demos booked through phone, not email. Then, this is how they manage their daily list. And it was using a software called Close. We'll talk about it later. Then, when you're doing cold calls, or your team is doing cold calls, there should be a pitch which makes it relatable for people on the other side. And this is how Seamless Docs went about it. They're like, I'm on your website right now. I see 80 different forms the citizens have to fill, and then after 10 days, we submit to you. Chuck, what do you do with it? This, that. So that's where they started the conversation, and slowly they try to, bring the receiver to the pain point, to the pressing pain points that they have. For example, gradually they asked, can I e-sign them? Can I submit them online? And this helped them, get into an open conversation with the officials and finding out their pain points and slowly pitching the solution. Now, when you get that opportunity to pitch your solution, you demo the problem, not the product. They are not interested in the technical know-how. This is cloud-based. It's very secure. This that comes later. First comes, can you solve their problem? And for that, you need to have a word in your pitch which is called efficiency. So that is a buzzword which helps you sell. Then fourth or final stage is midwife the procurement process. And now there are two things when multiple vendors, in the contract opportunity, they send quotations, then the route is different. And when there is a sole source, that is, you don't have a competition, then it's different. And for Seamless Docs, they were lucky, they were the only one in their category when they started. Now, one more good point here. Look at the numbers. So the people in government, the executive buyers, economic buyers, they have the permission to sign purchase orders which are less than $5,000. So you strategically keep the price just a little below 5,000 so that it's easier for them to purchase the sign order, sign the purchase orders. Then you also need to make sure that for the internal buying, wherein there are multiple people influencing the decision, you somehow manage to bring more people on board for the decision in, buying that. And ultimately, it's the patience which helps you win. Now, here is a snapshot of how the process of selling looks like. Now, I told you the story of how a company could sell to government. Now, you know what? Based on the story, you might feel that this company or the website where I'm reading the blog, they are actually someone who can help us make sales in the government. Maybe they have a special sales team or something. But no, they are a software, a SaaS company. And look at how beautifully they have written the content and how beautifully they have plugged in their product. This snapshot is from their product. And then here in between they are telling that their cold calling thing, Seamless Docs, managed through this software called Close, is excellent example of, compelling story writing, uh, engaging content, well researched content. I mean, this is like a 10 on 10. So yeah, it's a 10 on 10 content where they have a compelling story. We humans love to read stories. And while reading the story, how beautifully they have plugged in their product. Uh, Very easy to reach to the target audience. Then the content is very well researched. There is no fluff in the article. I so this author Stelly FT, you are amazing. This is a lovely, lovely blog. I absolutely loved it. And I hope that you didn't mind that I did a walkthrough on your blog because I absolutely loved it. Amazing, amazing. I think that's how all SaaS companies should write content where they are bringing stories of a pain point, how the pain point was solved, the complete process, and in that complete process, you plug in your product and how beautifully it helped. Well, by the way, this is Aditi from Concurate. We are a content marketing agency and we bring business through content for you, not just leads. Have a good day, good weekend. See you soon. Bye bye.